Rain hammered against the windows with such force it sounded like fists pounding on glass, demanding entry. In room 347, Nia Washington lay back against thin pillows, her dark skin glistening with sweat, her chest heaving as she tried to catch her breath. She'd just given birth. The baby boy in her arms was perfect. 10 fingers, 10 toes, a head full of soft black curls already trying to form. His eyes were squeezed shut, his tiny mouth working in his sleep. He smelled like something innocent, like hope hadn't been beaten out of him yet. Nia stared at him, feeling something dangerous blooming in her chest. Attachment. She couldn't afford that. This wasn't her baby. This was a job. Contract. 24 months of her life. 9 months pregnant, 15 months of paperwork, negotiations, and finally this moment. All for $75,000 that would clear her student loans and get her the hell out of her cousin's cramped apartment. Her phone buzzed on the bedside table. She reached for it with her free hand, expecting a congratulatory text from the Kingsleys. Maybe a photo request. Maybe instructions about the handoff tomorrow morning. Instead, there were 3 text messages, all from Mrs. Victoria Kingsley. 11:47 p.m. We've been informed the child is male. 11:48 p.m. This is unacceptable. Our contract specified female gender selection. 11:52 p.m. We will not be taking custody. Leave him at the adoption center. Our lawyers will contact you regarding breach of contract. Nia's vision blurred. She read the messages again, then again. Her hands started shaking. The baby stirred in her arms, making a small sound. Not quite a cry, just a whimper, as if he could sense the shift in the room's energy. Scrolling frantically through her phone, she found the contract, the one she'd signed 18 months ago in a glass-walled conference room that overlooked downtown Atlanta, where she'd felt so small and out of place. She scrolled to Section 7, Gender Selection Clause. The intended parents acknowledge that gender selection procedures do not guarantee results and agree to accept the child regardless of sex. Her throat tightened. They'd signed it. She'd watched Mrs. Kingsley's manicured hand glide across the page. All business, no warmth. They'd agreed. And now they were just walking away? A nurse knocked and entered. Shanice, a black woman in her 50s who'd been checking on Nia throughout the night. "How you doing, baby?" Shanice asked, her voice warm like Sunday morning. Nia couldn't speak. She just held up the phone. Shanice took it, read the messages, and her entire face changed. "Oh, hell no. They don't want him," Nia said, her voice breaking. "Because he's a boy. They just threw him away like he's trash." Shanice finished, her jaw tight. "I've been a nurse for 30 years. Seen a lot of ugly in these halls. But this," she handed the phone back. "This is a new kind of evil." The baby yawned, his little fist uncurled and then curled again, flexing like he was already trying to hold on to something. "What do I do?" Nia whispered. Shanice sat on the edge of the bed. "What does your heart tell you?" "My heart doesn't get a vote. I'm broke. I live on my cousin's couch. I work at Target and babysit on weekends. I can barely take care of myself." "That's your fear talking. That's reality talking." Shanice looked at the baby, then back at Nia. "You know what's also reality? That little boy just got thrown away by people who got more money than God. And if you hand him over to the system, he's gonna spend his whole life knowing he wasn't wanted. Not by them, not by you. But if you keep him, I'll be poor forever. Maybe. Or maybe you'll be rich in ways money can't buy." Before we go any further, comment where in the world you're watching from and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. Now back to the story. Shanice stood up. "I'll give you the night to think about it. Social services doesn't come till morning." After Shanice left, Nia sat alone with the baby. The rain kept falling. She tried to imagine handing him over, tried to picture herself walking out of this hospital empty-handed, going back to her cousin's apartment, sleeping on that lumpy couch, moving on with her life like nothing happened. But when she looked down at him, she couldn't see it. All she could see was a little boy growing up wondering why nobody wanted him, why he wasn't enough, Why being born a boy made him disposable. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from the Kingsley legal team. Clinical. Cold. Do not attempt contact. Consider the contract void. Nia felt something shift inside her. Not softness. Rage. She looked at the baby and whispered, "You're not trash. You hear me? You're not a mistake." The baby's eyes fluttered open, dark brown wide, staring up at her like she was the whole world. And in that moment, Nia Washington made a decision that would change everything. "You're mine now," she said. "I don't know how we're gonna do this, but you're mine." Nia named him Malik. It meant king in Arabic. She'd learned that from a book she checked out from the library when she was pregnant, back when she thought she'd never actually name this child. But if she was going to raise him, she wanted him to have a name that meant something. A name that said, "You matter." The first year was hell. Nia worked the morning shift at Target, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., then picked Malik up from Miss Lorraine's apartment downstairs. Miss Lorraine was 73, half blind, but sharp as ever and refused to take more than $20 a day for watching him. "That baby is a blessing," Miss Lorraine would say, rocking Malik in her worn recliner. "I got nothing but time and love. You keep your money." But Nia still slipped extra bills into Miss Lorraine's sugar jar when she wasn't looking. At night, Nia worked her second job, remote customer service for an insurance company. She'd sit at her tiny desk in the corner of her cousin Tasha's living room, Malik sleeping in a bassinet beside her, and answer calls from angry people until midnight. Some nights she fell asleep at the keyboard. Some nights she cried in the shower so Malik wouldn't hear. But she never regretted keeping him. By the time Malik turned 3, the neighborhood had become his village. Mr. Jerome from the barbershop let him sit in the big chair and watch the clippers work, teaching him about respect, about looking a man in the eye when you shake his hand. Sister Pauline from the church brought over casseroles every Sunday and prayed over Malik like he was her own grandson. The teenage boys on the block, guys who people crossed the street to avoid, taught Malik how to ride a bike, cheered when he finally let go of the training wheels. And Nia? She watched her son grow up loved by a community that didn't have much but gave everything. When Malik turned 7, his teacher, Ms. Rodriguez, called Nia in for a meeting. Nia's heart sank. She thought he was in trouble. Instead, Ms. Rodriguez smiled. "Your son is reading at a 10th grade level." Nia blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" "Malik is exceptional. He finished the entire classroom library in 2 months. He's doing multiplication in his head. He asks questions about things I have to Google." Ms. Rodriguez leaned forward. "Mrs. Washington, it's just Nia. I'm not married. Nia, your son is gifted. Have you considered testing him for advanced programs?" Nia felt pride and terror in equal measure. "Those programs cost money. Not all of them. There are scholarships, magnet schools. I can help you apply." That night, Nia sat Malik down at their tiny kitchen table, the one that wobbled unless you stuck a folded napkin under one leg. "Your teacher says you're really smart," Nia said. Malik shrugged. "I just like reading." "Baby, you're more than smart. You're special." Malik looked up at her with those wide brown eyes. "Mama, if I'm so special, why didn't my first family want me?" Nia's breath caught. She'd always been honest with Malik. She'd told him, in age-appropriate ways, that she'd carried him for another family. But that family had changed their mind. She'd never told him why. "They made a mistake," Nia said carefully. "A big one. But their mistake gave me you. And I wouldn't trade that for anything." Malik nodded slowly. Okay. Yeah, I got you. That's enough." Nia pulled him into a hug and held on tight. Across town, in a mansion that could swallow Nia's entire apartment building, the Kingsley family was falling apart. Victoria and Charles Kingsley had finally gotten their daughter 4 years after abandoning Malik. Her name was Lily. She had blonde ringlets, blue eyes, and a smile that lit up every room. She was their miracle, their princess, their carefully curated heir to a billion-dollar empire built on tech patents and generational wealth. For 4 years, everything was perfect. Then came the diagnosis: acute myeloid leukemia, aggressive, fast-moving, deadly. The doctors explained it in sterile terms. Lily needed a bone marrow transplant. The best match would be a sibling. Without it, her survival rate dropped below 30%. Victoria Kingsley sat in the oncologist's office, her hands trembling in her lap. "We don't have another child," Charles said. The doctor hesitated. "Have you ever, in the past?" Victoria's face went white. That night, behind closed doors, Charles and Victoria had the conversation they'd been avoiding for 8 years. "The boy," Charles said. "Don't," Victoria snapped. "We need him. We don't even know where he is. Then we find him." Victoria stood up, pacing. "Do you have any idea what this will do to our reputation? To Lily? We threw him away, Charles. We abandoned him because he wasn't what we wanted. And now he's the only thing that can save her." Victoria stopped pacing, looked at the photo of Lily on the mantel, smiling, healthy, alive. "Fine," she whispered. "Find him." It took the Kingsleys' private investigators 3 weeks. They found Malik Washington, age 8, living in East Atlanta with his mother, Nia Washington, the former surrogate. The report included photos. Malik walking to school, backpack bouncing. Malik laughing with other kids at a playground. Malik holding Nia's hand at a bus stop. Charles stared at the photos. "He looks happy." "Good for him," Victoria said coldly. "Set up a meeting." The black SUVs rolled into Nia's neighborhood on a Tuesday afternoon like a funeral procession. People stopped and stared. Kids on bikes circled the vehicles, curious and cautious. Nia was coming home from work when she saw them parked in front of her building. 2 men in suits stood by the doors. Professional, intimidating. Her stomach dropped. She knew. Somehow she knew. "Can I help you?" Nia asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. One of the men stepped forward. "Ms. Washington, we're here on behalf of the Kingsley family. They'd like to speak with you. It's urgent. Tell them I'm not interested. It's about Malik." Nia's blood turned to ice. What about him? Perhaps this conversation would be better held in private. They met in a restaurant downtown, the kind of place where the cheapest entree cost more than Nia made in a day. Victoria and Charles Kingsley sat across from her, looking exactly as she remembered. Polished, powerful, cold. "Thank you for meeting with us," Charles began. "I didn't do this for you," Nia said. "I did it because you said it was about Malik. So talk." Victoria folded her hands on the table. "We have a daughter now, Lily. She's 4 years old. And she's dying." Nia's expression didn't change. "I'm sorry to hear that. She has leukemia," Charles continued. "She needs a bone marrow transplant. The best match would be a biological sibling." The air left the room. Nia stared at them. "You want Malik. We want to test him," Victoria corrected. "To see if he's compatible. After 8 years. After you threw him away like garbage. After you told me to dump him at an adoption center. Now you want him. We made a mistake," Charles started. "A mistake." Nia's voice rose. "You didn't forget to pick up milk. You abandoned a baby. Your baby." Victoria's jaw tightened. "We're prepared to compensate you. Generously." "Compensate me?" $500,000, Charles said. "For access to Malik. For testing. And if he's a match and agrees to donate, we'll set up a trust fund in his name. $2 million. Nia laughed. A sharp, bitter sound. "You think I want your money?" "Everyone wants money," Victoria said quietly. "Not everyone sells their child for it." "He's not your child," Victoria said. "Biologically, he's ours." "He's mine," Nia said, standing up. "I raised him. I fed him. I held him when he cried. I taught him how to tie his shoes. Where were you? We didn't know. You didn't care. And now you only care because you need something." Nia leaned forward. "You can't buy him. You can't take him. And you sure as hell can't make him do anything he doesn't want to do." She turned to leave. "Wait," Charles said. "What if we asked him? What if we let Malik decide?" Nia stopped. "He's 8 years old." "He's old enough to understand," Victoria said. If there's even a chance he could save Lily's life, don't we owe it to both of them to try? Nia turned around, her eyes burning. You don't get to talk about what you owe, but I'll ask him. Not because of you, because maybe, somehow, that little girl deserves better than the parents she got. That night, Nia sat Malik down and told him everything. She watched his face as he processed it. Confusion, hurt, anger, curiosity. They threw me away because I'm a boy? He asked. Yes, that's stupid. Yes, it is. And now they want me to save their daughter? They want to see if you can. There's no guarantee you'd be a match. Malik was quiet for a long time. Then, what's she like? I don't know, baby. Can I meet her? Nia's heart broke a little. You want to? I want to see her. I want to see if she's nice. Malik, you don't owe them anything. I know, he said softly. But maybe I owe her something. She didn't choose them either. The Kingsley estate was obscene. Malik pressed his face to the car window as they drove through the gates, past manicured gardens and fountains that belonged in movies, not real life. People really live like this? He whispered. Nia squeezed his hand. Some people do. It doesn't feel real. It's not. Not for us. They were led into a sitting room that was bigger than their entire apartment. Everything was white and cream and spotless. Malik was afraid to touch anything. Then the door opened, and a little girl walked in. Lily Kingsley looked like a doll, but she was thin, too thin. Her blonde curls were wispy, her skin pale. She wore a princess dress and sparkly shoes, but there was something fragile about her, like she might break if you hugged her too hard. She looked at Malik with wide blue eyes. Are you my brother? She asked. Malik glanced at Nia, who nodded. I guess so, Malik said. Lily smiled, a real, genuine smile. I always wanted a brother. Something in Malik's chest cracked. They spent an hour together. Lily showed Malik her room, filled with toys and books and things he'd only ever seen in store windows. She didn't brag. She just seemed lonely. Do you have friends? Malik asked. Not really. I'm sick a lot. I can't go to school. That sucks. Yeah. Lily handed him a stuffed unicorn. Do you like unicorns? They're okay. I love them. They're magic. She looked at him seriously. Are you magic? What? Mommy and Daddy said you might be able to help me. That makes you magic, right? Malik didn't know what to say. Lily coughed. A deep, rattling sound. A nurse appeared out of nowhere, checking her, giving her water. When the nurse left, Lily looked at Malik again. I don't want to die. Malik felt something twist in his stomach. I don't want you to die either. Will you help me? He looked at this little girl, his sister, sort of, and saw someone who didn't ask to be born into this family any more than he did. Someone who was just a kid, scared and sick. Yeah, Malik said. I'll help you. The bone marrow testing was quick and painless. They took a blood sample, ran it through machines that Malik didn't understand. The doctors spoke in complicated terms, but the message was clear. They'd know within a week if he was a match. During that week, Malik couldn't stop thinking about Lily. He drew pictures for her, comic book characters, because she'd mentioned she liked superheroes. He asked Nia if they could visit her again. Malik, baby, you don't have to do this, Nia said gently. I know, but I want to. Why? He was quiet for a moment. Because if someone could save me, I'd want them to try. The call came on a Sunday. Nia answered, listened, then handed the phone to Malik. You're a match, she whispered. Malik's hands shook as he took the phone. The doctor explained what it meant, the procedure, the recovery, the risks. It wasn't dangerous, but it wasn't nothing either. So I can save her? Malik asked. You're her best chance, yes? After the call ended, Nia pulled Malik close. You don't have to do this. I know. The Kingsleys don't deserve you. I know, Malik said again. But Lily does. The bone marrow donation was scheduled for 2 weeks later. In that time, the Kingsleys tried to insert themselves into Malik's life. Gifts, phone calls, invitations to the mansion. Nia shut it down every time. You get access to his bone marrow, she told them coldly. Not his heart. Victoria looked like she wanted to argue but didn't. The day of the procedure, Malik was nervous. Nia held his hand in the pre-op room. You're the bravest person I know.
I'm scared.
That's what makes it brave. They wheeled him away, and Nia waited. The Kingsleys waited too, in a different room behind closed doors. Hours later, the doctor emerged. The transplant was successful. Malik did great. Lily's body is already accepting the marrow. Nia cried. Not for the Kingsleys. For her son who just saved a life. 2 weeks after the surgery, Nia received a certified letter. It was from a law firm she didn't recognize. Not the Kingsleys' legal team, someone else. Inside was a document, and a business card from an attorney named Marcus Webb. The document was labeled, Genetic Parentage Report. Nia's hands shook as she read. Subject, Malik Washington. Biological mother, Nia Washington. Biological father, unknown donor, sperm bank reference number 4782. She read it again, and again. Then she called the number on the business card. Marcus Webb answered on the first ring. Ms. Washington, I've been waiting for your call. What is this? Nia demanded. The truth, Marcus said. Did you ever read the full surrogacy contract? Of course I did. Did you read Section 12? Subsection C? Nia scrambled for her old files, found the contract, flipped through pages of legal jargon. There it was. In the event of IVF failure, the agency reserves the right to utilize surrogate genetic material with informed consent. Her vision blurred. They used my egg, she whispered. Yes, the Kingsleys' IVF attempts failed 3 times. Rather than tell them, the fertility clinic used your egg with donor sperm and told them it was theirs. You signed a consent form buried in the paperwork. Most surrogates never realize. Why are you telling me this? Because Malik isn't biologically a Kingsley. He's legally yours. Fully. And I think you should know that before they try to take him. Nia sat in stunned silence for hours. Malik was hers. Not just in her heart. Biologically. Legally. Completely. She didn't tell the Kingsleys right away. She waited until Lily was discharged from the hospital, healthy and thriving. Then she requested one final meeting. They met in the same restaurant. Victoria and Charles looked different now. Tired, grateful, almost human. We wanted to thank you, Charles said. And Malik. He saved our daughter's life. We'd like to stay in touch, Victoria added. If you're open to it. We know we don't deserve. He's mine, Nia interrupted. They both stopped. What? Victoria asked. Nia slid the genetic report across the table. Malik isn't yours. He never was. The fertility clinic used my egg. He's biologically mine. Victoria snatched the paper, read it, then looked up in horror. That's impossible. It's right there. Charles grabbed the report, scanning it. His face went pale. This means... Victoria's voice trailed off. It means you have no claim to him, Nia said. You never did. The only reason he saved your daughter is because he has a good heart. Not because you deserve him. Victoria looked shattered. We didn't know. You didn't care. You just wanted a perfect child. And when he wasn't what you ordered, you tossed him aside. Nia stood. Malik saved Lily because he's kind. Because I raised him to see people, not use them. But he's not yours. He never will be. She turned to leave, then stopped. Oh, and one more thing. There's something else the doctors found. Charles looked up. What? Malik has a rare genetic marker. Comes from my side. It's what made him compatible with Lily. Nia smiled coldly. It also means he's incompatible with your bloodline. Your family legacy. Your perfect inheritance. Can't continue through him. You wanted a daughter for your matriarchy clause. You got one. But the boy you threw away is the reason she's alive. And you'll never be able to claim him as your own. The weight of it hit them both. Their daughter lived because of a child they'd rejected. A child they could never have. Victoria buried her face in her hands. Charles just stared at the table. Nia walked out and didn't look back. 3 months later, Malik stood in front of his new school. It was a magnet program for gifted students, one of the scholarships Ms. Rodriguez had helped him apply for. He'd gotten in on his own merit. Nia stood beside him, holding his hand. "You nervous?" she asked. "A little. You're going to be amazing." "I know." He grinned up at her. "Because I've got you." Nia kissed the top of his head. "Always." As Malik walked through the school doors, Nia thought about everything they'd been through. The hospital, the texts, the fear, the choice. And she thought about the Kingsleys, living in their mansion, with their daughter who was alive because of the boy they'd thrown away. They tried to call a few times, sent letters, gifts. Nia didn't answer. Maybe one day, when Malik was older, she'd let him decide if he wanted them in his life. But for now, he was hers, and she was his, and that was more than enough. If the story moved you in any way, please take a second to like this video, subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one.